in which it ruled that it had jurisdiction to determine the legal validity of the 1899 arbitral award, as well as the international boundary between Guyana and Venezuela. We will await the court's final judgment on the merits with patience, dignity, and optimism. We will continue to address Venezuela in a spirit of peace, cooperation, and friendship, and as sovereign equals. We respect Venezuela's sovereignty, as we have always done, and insist that Venezuela refrain from trespassing on or threatening Guyana's sovereignty. We have heard the statements of Venezuela's officials that they do not accept the ICJ's jurisdiction and will not abide by its rulings. This will be a breach of its most solemn obligations under the United Nations Charter, the Charter of the Organization of American States, and the general international law. It will not be tolerated by the international community, which demands a world order based on law. It is our fervent hope that Venezuela's expression of disrespect for the court and for international law reflects the emotions that often accompany litigation of this kind. We hope that after passions recede and responsible government officials reflect, they will conclude, as we have done, that both states are best served by an end to this long-standing conflict, and that the only way to secure a just and lasting peace and an enduring friendship is by respect for and compliance with the court's final judgment, whatever it may be, as required by the United Nations Charter. Now, I wish to turn to the matter I want to address. That is our national security infrastructure and what we are investing in to ensure the safety and sustainability of our country. The objective of our national security infrastructure of Guyana is to develop one of the most modern, technologically integrated systems in the world. In this system, we are seeking to create a common national security interface with all security agencies and apparatus, integrated to enhance interoperability, enhance efficiency, and deliver results. Such system must be in compliance with global standards and integrated in supporting the security not only of Guyana, but our region and with our allies. The system is built on partnership with key allies and institutions. Technology, intelligence, governance, resilience, community, civil society are all critically and will be critically integrated into the system. The system is aimed at creating a people-centric model for national security. Now, I want to elaborate on some of the pillars that we are investing in and we will continue to invest in, and for you and our country to have an appreciation of what this architecture would look like by the end of 2030. As you know, the most modern security system are technology and technologically integrated into the global system. So that's the first thing. Our security must be able to integrate in the global system. The Advanced Passenger Information System in the coming years will be a critical tool for every single country. Digitization, digital passports, digital ID card, all of these are investment that countries will have to make to be part of an international security system and architecture. That system and architecture is designed to enhance information sharing, to enhance predictability, and to have greater integration in tracking and monitoring, so that the global system will be based on shared investment, shared responsibility, and a shared approach to national and international security. Our internal security architecture is built around 7 core modern pillars. That is technology, intelligence, governance, resilience, and citizen services. The security architecture, as I said, must be people-centric. So citizen services, citizens' trust in this system is a critical indicator of the success of the system. So everything that we're doing in building out this system is geared towards enhancing citizens' trust in the security architecture and infrastructure. Now, key components of this system will include smart police stations, and I'll enhance that a bit later so you will understand what our thinking is around what is a smart police station. A smart police station operating 24/7 without human staff. AI-powered policing systems. Online crime reporting and digital service delivery. Integrated national database. E-services and mobile policing apps. And real-time command and control centers. Now, as you know, we have already started the investment in the command centers in a number of regions. These command centers are, whilst regionally decentralized, are also centralized at the national level. It is a common shared platform with different tiers of information set depending on needs and depending on the agencies. The second and the objective of this is to ensure that we have a faster, citizen-friendly, data-driven policing architecture. You've seen also that we are placing security and policing outposts within the communities themselves, outfitting those outposts with the technology and the equipment that would allow them to respond faster to crime. The fact is that our communities are becoming deeper, are more stratified. So the structure, the infrastructure and structure of our security architecture must reflect this changing dynamic. The second aspect is artificial intelligence and predictive security. As you know, one of the key features of modern security system is the use of AI to help in predictability so that you can actually stop crime before they even occur, to help in traceability, to help in crime solving, and to remove human biases and human interference. That does not say that humans are not there. Humans are there in the back room, but AI helps in doing analytics at a faster pace, scouring the data set, scouring the footages, and coming up with scenarios, helping police and the system to respond more effectively and efficiently. So AI is going to be an important part of our national security operations. And the key capabilities that AI would allow us are the following: predictive crime analytics, facial recognition system, behavioral analytics, automated threat detection, smart surveillance system, AI-supported traffic management, drone and robotics integration. This would allow us in real time to predict patterns, networks. It will help us to monitor public spaces and spaces of interest, improve emergency response, and enhance our border security. Take, for example, when we have huge event at a stadium and other places. This technology would allow us, with the use of one vehicle, to be stationed there, to have a full coverage of that entire area in a predictable manner, assessing threats, assessing behavior, and giving advanced information to officers as to what and where these threats and behavior can lead to a security challenge. This is where the world is heading, and this is where we are heading. The third pillar is national surveillance and safe country infrastructure. As you know, we have already invested, and we're investing in the CCTV coverage in our Safe Country program. We intend by 2030 to have all of our country fully covered. We intend also to build the intelligent traffic system into this network. Now, I'll give you an example of what we've already done. As you know, we have launched the smart cameras, traffic cameras, and we have seen massive reduction in accidents and speeding in the areas that we have launched the cameras. Now we went a step further. AI can now generate for us who are the repeat offenders in traffic offenses. So you don't need to go through days of documents. In milliseconds, we can generate a report about repeat offenders so that that can be integrated in the judicial system, and the judicial system can take the appropriate action based on the repeat offenders. We also have now advanced this into a mobile unit. And the first few pilots are now completed, where the mobile unit will drive along the road and automatically pick up all the vehicles with outstanding traffic offenses. And those vehicles are pulled in. So the test a few nights ago on the East Coast alone found 250 plus vehicles with outstanding tickets, just driving through. And no human can interfere with the system, because the system would pick them up, document it on a screen, put it in the database, and then turn on even the sirens to stop the vehicle. This mobile unit can also be parked in any location, and it'll have 360 degrees coverage of the traffic in that location to look at offenses. This is some of the latest technology that we are applying. We are now going to move this at scale to national levels. So as I said, the CCTV will be integrated in our intelligent traffic system. Sensor-enabled infrastructure, what do I mean by this? You will see soon the traffic lights that we will install in the city would be sensor-oriented, based on what the traffic is looking, how the sensors are reading the traffic. The timing of the lights will change to allow efficiency in the system, so that it is not one time that is fixed. You know, sometimes the traffic is going out of the city, sometimes in the city. So the sensors will pick this up in a predictable way and then make the decisions and adjustment within the system itself. The sensor-enabled infrastructure would also go a step further. Our intention is that in critical areas, critical and sensitive areas, we will have sensor-enabled patterning. So we can launch the eyes in the sky with a vehicle that commits a crime. And the drones will go to the path that the vehicle is going and be able to identify that vehicle, trace that vehicle, the cameras will be integrated, the CCTV cameras will be integrated to share information and pattern. But more importantly, the system can then network all the places that vehicle went in the last 72 hours. So you're able to track networks and break into networks. You're able to see integration and association. And there's a normal saying with smart city program and smart country program. If you see the camera is seeing you. And if you're hiding from the camera, you're hiding something. So this infrastructure is going to be the backbone upon which we are building our country. We'll have the smart street monitoring. We started that in Stabroek area, as you know, and we saw the crime rate in that Stabroek area plummeted from 90 plus reports to less than 6. And that is because everyone is integrated in the security system. There is smart sensors, smart cameras attached to a public screen. So these are the things that will drive the security architecture and infrastructure. We also have the automated emergency detection system. That is where AI in the background, and this is what we're building in, will be able in a predictable manner to assess movements, assess threats, and to generate reports that are interlinked with the eyes in the sky, interlinked with the safe city camera system, and of course, the ability to pull up persons of interest that will allow us to, in a predictable way and a proactive way, address situations. The fourth pillar is, of course, now, on the CCTV cameras, we need more than 25,000 cameras to cover the entire country, which would be about 6,700 sites. To date, I think we are closing in on 1,300 sites and about 6,000 cameras. We will be investing to have those 20,000 cameras installed by 2030 or long before, that 20,000 plus additional cameras. And those are just the static cameras. We also have the roving cameras. We will also have eyes in the sky. And as you know, we've also given a range of incentive for persons to invest in commercial security system and home security system that we also encourage. Now, the AI and predictive security measures would allow us, of course, to not only enhance our security system, but integrate it into regional systems, like the RSS, our partners in the Southern Sphere, and wider field. Because more and more, traveling and the ease of traveling will depend on the soundness of your traveling document and the soundness of your security infrastructure. The fourth area is cybersecurity and digital resilience. And this is a very important area for us. As we continue to build out our digitization program and move towards a technologically driven backbone, the safety and security of our data. Before the end of this year, for example, we will have the national payment system fully implemented. So you can go and just scan a QR code and pay for anything. You have your you can do all your transaction on your phone. Some banks are already ready. You can do transfer, you can pay anything globally, anywhere in the world from your phone. So that tells you that major investment will be made in cybersecurity and digital resilience. Cybersecurity is treated as a core national pillar. Now, the key feature would include a national cybersecurity strategy We already have that strategy being refined. We have to also look at a cyber emergency response team. So we have to build a team with global standards, the best as a cyber emergency response team, a team that is available 24/7 to respond efficiently and effectively to cyber threats and challenges. Now, this is the not an important aspect is our critical infrastructure. You can have cybersecurity that attack critical infrastructure, whether it's your energy infrastructure. We will now have infrastructure in the petrochemical field, fertilizer plant, for example, the building out of the Wales Development Zone, our oil assets, our gas assets. So it is important that the protection of critical infrastructure is an important component of the cybersecurity and digital resilience strategy. So that is also being worked out to be implemented. The energy sector defense strategy, a particular strategy powered under the digital arm of resilience and cybersecurity will be worked out, and that is to protect our energy infrastructure. It's called energy defense. Energy sector cyber defense. You know, the data in the energy sector is critical data. As we move towards owning more of our data and having data sovereignty, we have to ensure that the backbone is there to protect that data so that it's not stolen. And then, of course, data sovereignty protection. Of course, all of the laws, we have already had amendments of the laws, new laws, but we will have to further amend some of these laws to fit into the new international standards, international norms that we are now pursuing in this national security architecture. The objective here is to protect our digital infrastructure and our national systems. The fifth pillar, of course, is the border security and immigration control. And we are going to deploy, we have started already to deploy technology. You have seen the ease through which you can pass through the e-gates. We are now working on the custom component of that so that you don't have to wait for your bags, moving towards the removal of that long immigration form and that custom form, looking more at more self-declaration, creating more trust in the system, stronger penalties to support that. So the technology that we are adopting here to manage the entry, exit, migration. Of course, we have the digital ID card. By the end of this year, your ID, national ID card will be for voting, but the digital ID card will be the card that is necessary for all your transaction, whether it's the banking transaction and all of these things. So I'm encouraging everyone to push forward in getting your cards. We are now also going to expand the sites, not only the 10 regional sites, but we'll have additional 60 sites across our country to continue the aggressive rollout of the digital ID card. Now, to add to this, we'll have the biometric immigration system. As I said, the advanced passenger information system is critical for international travel, for your rating, for the way in which people will trust your system and trust your documents. All of this have bearing on the rating of your passport and your systems and your documents. We'll have the e-gates already there, facial recognition at the airport, e-visas, smart visas, AI-supported traveler risk assessment. So the new system in the world is not even when you book your ticket. Once you express an interest to book a ticket, that is where the security system kicks in. And with AI, once you have this system, it gives you an alert that person X is a person of interest and they're trying to book your ticket. So it gives you an alert then. If the person then proceeds to pay for the ticket, it then gives you a high alert. Person X is now a bona fide traveler to your country. So you can stop. Countries are even stopping now That person, if it is someone in the blacklist, they are stopping that person from even booking the ticket. So you are preventing the threat even before the ticket is booked to come to your country. That is how advanced and integrated the global system is now, and that is where we are heading with this security infrastructure and architecture. All of this, the integrated customs and immigration database, is geared towards fast but secure movement of people and goods. We're going to have enhanced port security, more scanners, more digital tools, AI tools, less human interface. We'll have storage of information so that people will be held accountable. Everything must pass through the scanner in and out. So, and these scanners, of course, will be integrated into regional system so that persons, you can actually track a container from the origins right through the system. So if the container is packed in a particular way, when it leaves Guyana, and if it's found on another port, and you see it's not packed in the same way, you know something would have occurred throughout the journey. So that is what these systems allow us to do. Not only predictive, but also the traceability down the road. The sixth pillar is that of an integrated intelligence and interagency coordination system. It's very important that all our systems are interoperable and they can talk to each other and they're not silos. This is important for efficiency and to ensure a whole of government security coordination. For this, of course, we have police, the intelligence agency, civil defense, our cyber agency, FIU, SOCU, border security, the Ghana Defense Force, the emergency agencies, all of them will be part of this security architecture infrastructure. KANU, the border unit, all of them. This includes the ability, this will allow us the ability for real-time information sharing, the National Command Center accessibility based on clearance, so you'll have different clearance level, of course. Joint Crisis Management System, will implement a joint crisis management system and a unified emergency response platform. All of these things are being built out as I'm speaking to you now. Now, important for our national security is also our thinking behind critical infrastructure of our country, whether they're bridges, new ports, oil and gas facilities, airports, financial centers, data hubs, telecommunications infrastructure, water and electricity system, and the maritime system. So all of these things we classify as critical infrastructure. And a security architecture plan is being developed to be implemented using technology to help in the security of this. And the technology used that we're looking at include drones, AI monitoring, radar systems, maritime surveillance, and smart infrastructure protection. This will ensure us having a secure economic stability and, of course, securing our strategic assets. Important for us in all of this, as I said, is people-centric. Community security and social stability is important. So key elements of the strategy is community policing, enhancing community involvement, building community trust, anti-radicalization program. So we want to have where we see communities are at risk with maybe criminal networks and radicalization taking place in a very proactive way, using the tools, go into those communities, have programs, build out strategies to counter those anti-radicalization programs. Public awareness campaigns, tolerance and coexistence initiative, building trust, building confidence, mentoring and coaching, youth programs, youth engagement programs, building out our recreational facilities, channeling energy in positive direction, building stronger families, stronger communities, social protection system, involving the churches, involving civil society, involving the clubs, in building stronger communities, more secure, friendly communities. Then, of course, we have the resilience in emergency management that deals with disaster preparedness, pandemic response framework, climate resilience planning, that is important for us, national emergency exercise, civil defense, and smart emergency coordination. So utilizing the tools to help us with all of this. So now if I may go to some aspects that might be of interest. The first one is the smart police stations. What do we mean by this? It means the normal traditional front desk officers are not required. But confidence must be there. As we build out these digital platforms, a citizen must be confident to report a crime on their app or electronically. That goes into the system. AI helps us to track it. The deployment is made, and the electronic nature of it allows us to track how that report is being dealt with. The files are even automatically generated so that there is less tamper. Citizens will access services digitally through kiosks and smart systems, and this is how new policing is. You go to the mall, small kiosks will be there. Citizens can go and access the kiosks for any support, whether it's immigration, whether it's security, whether it's making a report, whether it's reporting some loss and found, anything. Whether you need counseling, whether you need support in child care, because the entire system will be integrated by 2030 to allow this. And of course, the way we are growing, this system will have to be built with multiple languages to allow seamless reporting with an AI backbone to convert all of the language into English so that you can have. Now, as simple as it seems, you have sometimes waiting time of 2 to 3 hours to get an interpreter to come to take a statement from someone who's going into the station because of language barriers. So this would help us to deal with some of these challenges. The services that this will include will be reporting crime, paying fines, traffic services, police clearances, loss and found report, tourist assistance. So you don't have to go and join a long line for police clearance anymore. You're shopping in the mall, you make a stop at the kiosk, put in your information for the police clearance. It comes back to you on a QR code or something, digitally available. That is where we're going. Faster service delivery and reduce time wasting. It improves citizen accessibility and, of course, reduce administrative burden and, of course, the burden on our officers. They can concentrate more on fighting crime and doing a lot of that. A lot of the time of police officers is now taken up doing administrative work. You need your men and women in uniform to be out there, to be in the zone, to react based on what is coming in a predictable way, not spending 50 or 60% of the time behind administrative duties. Of course, as I said, our AI-powered surveillance system will do a lot of things for us, and we already have the eyes in the sky that allows for facial recognition, behavioral analysis, crowd monitoring, suspicious movement detection, automated alert system, vehicle recognition system. I spoke to you about the integrated command system. The digital policing services include mobile apps, smart kiosks, online portals, the digital ID. All of this will be integrated into a common system. Now, the smart traffic and road safety system, that we're trying to, within the next 12 months, to have that fully operable across our country because we have such a big traffic problem. One of the, like today I can tell you, I know the, the, uh, the traffic chief would have sent out 1,600 letters, just above 1,600 letters on persons who they're interested in to find out how they acquired their driver's license. 16 plus 100 letters would have gone out. And this will be interesting. So the system is already delivering these results for us. The system allows for automated post audits. We are now moving the test, the driver's license test, to the Guyana Digital School platform, where the questions are automatically generated. Nobody would have any question paper 2 days before. If you go now to write it, 10 minutes after, the questions are completely different. It's random sampling. The system throws up the questions and mark it immediately. So you can know your results there. So the AI traffic cameras, the radar system, smart traffic signals, all of these things I spoke about earlier. Now, an important aspect of what we are doing also deals with combating financial and transnational crime. The system that we're building allows critical integration of systems with our allies and partners. Our intelligence system will be centralized and coordinated, not only with Guyana, with the region and with other partners. Real-time information sharing, this has already started, by the way. I will not elaborate on this. Integrated national database, multi-agency task force, AI-supported threat monitoring, predictive risk analysis. All of these things are part of that global integrated system that will do a lot of tracking in terms of human trafficking, financial crimes, gold smuggling, everything. One of the important modules that we'll build out also is the traceability on the goal. A system that will improve enormously the traceability and the security of our gold and mining sector generally. Now, important to all of this is also the strengthening of our counterterrorism and counter-extremism. Important. Not only counterterrorism, we have seen in our region, in neighbors, we have seen the displacement of cells all across the world. So we have to look at not only terrorism in its hard form, but extremism. Advanced counter-terrorism intelligence, digital monitoring of extremist type of behavior and activity. You have to look at terror financing and tracking resources that's linked to the financial system, the border watch list program, cyber monitoring, as I said, very key to all of this. The system would cover all our ports, airports, maritime space, logistics hubs, and of course the emerging threats of cryptocurrency and all of these new forms of payment settlement mechanism. All of that will be under this model that we are building out for our national security. Now, I want to say also that we are not doing this alone. We're working with Interpol, the RSS, the US, and other technology providers in helping us to build out this system in an aggressive way. To achieve all of this by 2030 is an enormous task, but we are working diligently to do this. The Guyana Fire Service is a major area that needs massive reorganization. So we have started a program to fix all of the hydrants. We have, I think, more than 25,000 hydrants to install. That is the first phase. It will be more as the communities are getting deeper. We have installed a couple thousand so far. So we're going to ramp up that in the next 18 months to have these hydrants installed in a much more aggressive way. We're looking at a smart dispatch center and system. We have more assets now. In all of the NDCs, we have given assets. We have to look at GIS-enabled command rooms, integrated CCTV monitoring, digital incident tracking system, real-time GPS fleet management, drone coordination unit. All of these things are going to be a key part of helping us to bring up the efficiency. I know that we have a lot of questions on the current efficiency and response time. It has improved, I must say, looking at the numbers tremendously, but we are not satisfied at all with where we are. Yeah, so the type of assets that we are investing in, of course, is to give rapid intervention vehicles, the smaller assets, as you know, because they have to go into communities that are deeper. The larger trucks have harder time going in there. Higher capacity pumps, the ladder trucks, higher ladder trucks because the buildings are getting higher. Hydraulic platforms now, we are not in the days where you use a two-story house, you put up a ladder and you climb up anymore. You have to have these hydraulic platforms, so these are the things we're investing in. And of course, we have to look at the new threats, industrial and oil and gas units. We have to look at foam tenders now, because it's different type of fires. We have to look at the industrial rescue trucks, investment for chemical containment units, because we'll have a petrochemical industry, LNG and LPG fire suppression systems. So a lot of training also will have to take place. And of course, technology allows you to detect leak long before a fire can occur. So with the technology application, it allows us, with limited human resources, to respond in a more timely way. With the expansion in our airports, we also have to enhance our airport firefighting capacity, not only to meet the international standard and requirement, but also to ensure that we have everything there ready, because the more sophisticated airlines and so are demanding higher standards. So we have to invest in this. The expansion of our port facilities require massive investment in fireboats, port emergency vehicles, offshore platform. So all of these things are ongoing as I speak to you. I can go on at length with what we're doing in fire. I can tell you right now that all that we have done, we have spent close to maybe $30 billion already in assets and infrastructure. We have trained hundreds of new personnel to work in the sector. An important aspect of the national security also, of course, is a modern prison service. And this deals with reform, a lot of reform, launching a prison prevention program. We are having great results in terms of repeat offenders. We have the lowest rate in the region. We have the highest rate of integration back into the society. So smart detection facility, digital monitoring of cell blocks, centralized command center, secure integrated surveillance system for the perimeter, segregated housing units. You know, in the past we had intermingling and the mixing with the administrative arm, the prison officers and prisons themselves. So we're going to invest in that. Modern juvenile rehabilitation facilities, women correctional facilities that are modern and to their specific needs, high security and special risk units. That is important for us as we build out this new system. I think I will stop here just to maybe add one more aspect of what is critical, and that is a smart court and judicial integration. I've already asked the AG to sit with all of our plans, and work with the court, because you might be developing your security infrastructure and architecture at a rapid pace, but the court system also have to move at that pace. More virtual court hearings, more the accessibility and not even accessibility, the acceptance of the electronic warrants, digital inmate transfers, real-time judicial records, secure legal communication, electronic evidence systems. All of these must be allowed to meet the requirement of this new modern security infrastructure that we are building. As I said earlier, on immigration, the e-visas, online visa application, electronic approvals, QR code. We don't want to have 10-person processing visas anymore. Everything must be done. The QR code for visas, mobile accessible visa records, an automated system, digital document uploads, integrated payment gateways, multi-language interface, major for our country now, because on the oil rigs alone, sometimes you have 5, 6 different nationality coming in. Real-time application tracking. Those are the type of issues that they that we'll be able to address. Hopefully, before independence, we'll have an exciting announcement already as to how our digital ID card will be interfacing with another country digital ID card in our region for seamless movement of our people. So that is what I want to say at this time. If there are any questions that you may want to ask, let me just borrow this file. Please, questions. Dennis Chabral.
Mr. President, with respect to the technological advancements you've referred to with respect to the security sector, could you say what will be the level of investment over a given period, and where are some of these technologies going to be coming from? And secondly, sir, as I have the mic, can you say what is the status of a planned Silicon Green Inc. Smart City project that has been proposed to the government for, what, more than 10 years?
You have me lost on the last one there. I don't know.
Silicon Green Inc. by Mr. Farley. Are you aware of that project?
No, I'm not aware of that. I can only speak about what I know of and what we're investing in. Now, let me say that we are investing in the national security architecture and infrastructure of our country. Many of the technology that we are adopting are technology our key partners and allies are already using. I will not go into details with that. Of course, the financing, as you will see, will come from joint initiative and, of course, in the national budget.
Renee Sambach with Kaiser News. Mr. President, are you confident the GTE project will be completed by year end? Is half-price electricity still likely? And can you say what will be the final cost? Also, do you believe Linsec is the right partner for this project?
You're asking me very simple questions. We don't, Linsec came through a public process, first of all. It was a public tender. The president of Guyana or nobody didn't go and select Linsec. Came through a public process. Our intention is to work with all the stakeholders to have this project completed and to ensure that our people have the benefit of a cut in electricity rate by 50%. We have, as you know, there was a press release by the Prime Minister's office outlined very clearly what are the new commitments in terms of the timeline, what will come on stream before the end of the year, the power that will come on stream in the first quarter of next year. And of course, much more than that, we're in the process of GTE2 because, you know, we are already projecting that the power that will be needed from what is happening in the economy will definitely consume all of GTE1 in its initial phase. So we are already on that. The GTE 2 project, the natural gas liquids is important for the building out of the Wales development zone. Of course, the Wales development zone and the type of industries that will go there. Already we know we are looking at an ammonia and urea plant, a gas bottling and logistics facility, the glass factory, a data center, NGL storage, and LNG facilities. So that, of course, will be linked to a lot of development in terms of port facilities, and then the opportunities that will come from cheaper energy in agro-processing, light manufacturing, and industrial development. To allow this, of course, you know, the enabling infrastructure was the pipeline coming on stream. We know the pipeline is there. We are now working aggressively to have this project completed. I can say I can't say that we are happy that the project has gone beyond timeline. We wanted this project to be completed as quickly as possible, but that is the reality that is before us. They had various challenges. We are not happy, and we said that before, but we have to now take this project to the end. That is the priority. The priority is finishing this project in the interests of Guyana and the Guyanese people.
Thank you, sir. My second question, is your administration concerned that Guyana's mineral asset and mining properties are increasingly being flipped between foreign companies for billions of US dollars, while Guyana itself is not benefiting from those transactions?
I don't know how can you tell me how Guyana,
Context? Okay.
how Guyana is not benefiting? Give me one example.
Okay, so recently, G Mining Ventures, they announced that they're acquiring its fellow Canadian firm, G2, for about US 2.2 billion. And they are going to join the...
So tell me everything. Tell me what was the cost of the exploration, how much the company spent on exploration, so that they could have gotten the market value of what asset they have, and who carried that cost. Tell me how companies operate in international market. So tell me all about this, because you know we are not an island upon ourselves. We operate in an international environment, and if you have global investors operate in different markets, and they can sell their shares. Of course, we want maximum benefit to come to Guyana. So tell me about it.
My question, sir, does the government believe that there should be
but tell
stronger
me that.
policies?
No, let's go back to the premise of your question. The premise of your question is we are not getting the benefits. Now, let me go back to some time ago, and Chabrol, maybe you have some experience on this. And I always call Chabrol because he's long in the media. That's all. That's the only reason Chabrol, not any other reason. We had, for example, at one time, the forestry sector. And one of the biggest hindrance to the local claim holders and the community forestry group was they did not have the resources to build the infrastructure that is needed to go to their claims. Never had it. Kid, you know this. They don't have it. This is the same for tourism. They never had that critical capital to build out the infrastructure. Government try, we build as far as we can build. The large investors come, they build out to their investment that allows the local operators. And what we saw in different period of our history was that the local sector benefited from a lot of this investment. They were able to go to their lands, work. The community forest organizations were growing at enormous pace, and then what happened? We lost the big players and almost lost the industry. In 2015 to 2020, you know what happened to the forestry sector? My dear? Yeah, you're not paying attention.
No.
You know what happened to the forestry sector between 2015 and 2020?
Question, sir.
No, it's all are related because these are all global companies. So I'm asking you, as a dear friend, are you aware of what took place in the forestry sector between 2015 and 2020? And in the mining sector, just imagine in the mining sector, you had 60% of all the assets, local miners' asset, their equipment, all their dredge was parked. They couldn't operate. The forestry sector couldn't even pay their salaries anymore. When we came back, we had to pay months of outstanding salaries for the Guyana Forestry Commission. We had a meeting with all the small-scale foresters. And you know what the small-scale foresters and medium-scale foresters told us? Let us get back the large players. Similarly, in gold mining, there were days when we had OMI. You remember those days? Right? Then you have large-scale operation that requires different level of exploration. The companies come legitimately. They get, and this is not, the Guyana is not special in this way. You go to Canada, in the mining sector, some of these very companies are operating there. They do the exploration. They go on the global market. They raise financing. Their asset value increase. They sell the shares at higher price. They sell the company. Now, we, in the future, can say that we want all our company, this is why the junior stock exchange and so will help us, that we want our medium-sized miners to come together in a consortium and benefit from the large-scale opportunity and say, let us see how we can do our own mineral mapping from a national level so we know where our assets are and we can direct more of those opportunities to these consortiums and larger operators in Guyana. And then your question, my dear, would change to me. It would say, Mr. President, are you satisfied that these mining claims that are going out locally are not going to friends and so on? So it's always a chicken and egg. But I want to say to you, I love your question, but understand the reality and understand where I'm taking you. Your question must take us to destination. If it is, we're saying that in the future, with more revenue coming in now, we have more money to do our own mapping, and we do that mapping, and we're able now to secure the data and information for ourselves and create opportunities for the medium size and the consortiums and build out our own capacity, then that is something that, that we are definitely considering and looking at in the future.
I would just like to clarify, sir. Does your government believe that there should be stronger policies to ensure that the
Don't stick to the text on your
country
phone.
gains more value when these large-scale
dear,
mining properties are flipped?
My dear friend, don't come with preconceived notion and stick to the text on your phone. Let us have a nice conversation. You see, one of the beautiful things about journalism is it allows you to interact and prosecute in real time. So I present to you a set of arguments that you may disagree with, but let's prosecute the argument. I said to you that you operate in a global environment. There are global rules in that environment. There are global standards in that environment. As a country, we have to. We don't have a choice. When you accept an international investor in your country, you may not be happy. It's not, you see, in government, you may not be happy, but it's not a happiness index. Policy making is not necessarily a happy index you're measuring on every issue. It's a reality. The reality is that you have an international investor that did work, trade on the international market, and sells or buy their company, creating value. We may not be happy with that, but the reality is that you are in an international market. So it's not a happiness index measuring. It's a reality of the global system we're operating in. Right, my dear? Thank you, my dear. Let's go around Shabral and then come back to you. Sure.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Rani Manakchan, the Guyana Times. Can you give an update on the contract negotiation for the new Berbice River Bridge, as well as the acquisition of the current bridge?
The what? Acquisition?
Acquisition of the current Berbice Bridge.
What do you mean acquisition?
The
Yeah.
ownership
So much
aspect.
bridges being built, Wisman, so on. Yeah. All right.
Are
You have a second question?
Yes, I have two more. Is there any developments in the tripartite agreement between government, ExxonMobil, and Fulcrum? I know you've mentioned a bunch of potential gas projects that we're hoping to develop. But is
The
there
ones I spoke about just now?
yes.
No,
and
those
so
are
much-
not potent. Those are the ones
Ones
for
at
Wales.
yes.
Yeah.
But like authors and Barbies and
Yeah.
so on. But is there
Yeah, I
any
understand your question.
concrete?
Yeah.
Okay. And lastly, I'm taking you back to your statement on national security. There have been several attacks recently, especially in the Cayuga River. We saw some of our soldiers being attacked and injured. What assurances can you give as the commander-in-chief for the protection of not just our troops, our citizens, and what role the Border Patrol program you launched recently in Region 9, I believe, plays in this whole scheme?
Okay. You asked a lot of questions, so we won't come back to you, right? I give you a full chance.
Okay.
All right, so let's start. The Barbies Bridge, the new Barbies Bridge, from my latest update, they are on the verge of finalizing the finances and also the final price. They are more or less there. So we are hoping to have that bridge started long before the end of this year. On the acquisition of the old bridge by the government, I think the final sets of meetings are ongoing now. Again, I think they are almost at agreement, right? And within the next couple of weeks, that will be finalized. So those are the first two questions. The second one is on the Barbies gas development.
And the arrangement with Fulcrum.
No, that's where I'm coming, the Barbies gas development. So remember Fulcrum was the company that we are talking to. So you have Fulcrum, you have Exxon, and so on. Now, what we are doing now is to try to find the best formula, looking at all the proposals on the table, from Exxon, from the partners, what Fulcrum idea was, what Fulcrum idea is, and also what the reality of the global system looks like. We have two things that we want to do. We want to ensure we can monetize as quickly as possible. But at the same time, we want also to build out the onshore facilities as quickly as possible so that we can leverage that gas to create the greatest multiplier effect for Guyana's development, for our regional positioning, and importantly, the conversation with Suriname is important to see how they will treat their gas. Of course, we are working towards having our pipeline to see whether they will feed into our pipeline. If that happens, of course, the project goes up to a higher scale with massive additional opportunities. What I can say to you, though, is the interest, especially from the US, has been incredible in terms of some of the onshore build-out that can come based on that gas. Remember, we had the Barbies Gas Summit, and in that summit, we saw interest from hyperscale data centers, massive urea plants, energy facility, and name it, the whole petrochemical industry. So definitely in Barbies, we will have the development of that zone, that exclusive development zone. Important to that is a deepwater port, because all of these onshore development is connected to a deepwater port. And we have, of course, the work that is ongoing with Bechtel to come up with the right plan. We know we have some interest. I'm not going to explore that here, from different partners in the deepwater port, different funding agency. So we're not going to explore that here. But definitely in the months ahead, you will definitely have a full understanding of what this development would look like. But now, two things: monetizing as quickly as possible, and also the building out the onshore opportunities and facility. No. Let me finish your questions. I told you. The Cayuni River incident. The Cayuni River incident, as you know, we have addressed this with our allies. We have addressed this diplomatically with Venezuela. We have addressed this from a national security standpoint. We have placed greater assets. I would not go into details about that. We have had reports of other shooting, but we also have reports of minimizing. We are trying, using our intelligence and information from allies, to see whether there is a pattern and whether it was linked to particular circumstances. You know, we had a case with the ICJ anyhow. So we are very watchful. This is intelligent-led. This is working with our allies. This is working with diplomacy, as we have always done, but ensuring our men and women in uniform have the necessary tools that will keep them safe. We have 2 new assets that and other assets that we are deploying to further enhance the security there. But we are confident about protecting our sovereignty and our borders. There's nothing more I'll add to that issue.
And what role does
The Border Patrol Unit, of course, is a unit that is working with the community policing group, transferring them into Border Patrol Unit to help us in this very things, intelligence sharing, more monitoring, real-time information, and having capacity and infrastructure to support what we're doing.
I know you launched it in Region 9 a few months ago. Are you able to say where they are? Have they done recruitment? What's going on?
A lot of work is ongoing. They're looking now at this phase is about assessment of all our different locations, that we have different challenges. We have different challenges at different locations, as you will know. And then the strategy will be deploying an efficient system based on those challenges.
If I can follow up on the gas question, you mentioned 2 things. Suriname possibly feeding into our pipeline. Did you raise this with Suriname? I know
This
you
is
had a
ongoing
meeting.
discussion. I had a meeting, virtual meeting with the president. We discussed this, of course. We discussed the bridge. And I will not go further into that. The president has asked me to give them some more time. In another couple of weeks, we will have another meeting, and more clarity will be given on that.
Okay, and the other clarification is, you mentioned
I think
Exxon.
you are abusing. You're
This will
abusing.
be it for me.
You're abusing my
Exxon-
love for the media.
Exxon and Fulcrum, you mentioned they have ideas that they're pitching to the table. Are you able to say what are some of those ideas?
I mentioned some of them to you from the summit, and you were at the summit. I know you were at the summit.
Thank you.
You are welcome. All right, we take the newsroom.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Vishani from the newsroom. I have 3 questions to start with. In the first instance, Mr. President, you spoke a lot about beefing up security and the country's partnerships. Recently, you joined the Shield of Americas. Could you perhaps tell us more about that, and how do you see that helping in that regard? Secondly, you talk about critical infrastructure, and you've been talking about critical infrastructure throughout. But given the global developments, has there been any movement forward on the creation of large storage facilities for fuel? I think you said there were some Middle Eastern conversations happening. And on the Ghana Development Bank, I'm interested to know specifically for citizens in hinterland areas, we saw the challenges that came about with the distribution of the cash grant. So how would this bank work and help those citizens?
So we're building one system for Guyana. That's why the digital system must go to every region. We have been able almost to complete the cash grant in some of the hinterland region, Region 9 and so on. So we're going to an aggressive build out of the digital ID card in those regions. But the Ghana Development Bank is going to operate in every single region. in our parliamentary sitting coming up, I think the legislation will be tabled. And we're hoping to have this bank fully operational. We have done all of the technical work. We have the systems ready to be triggered in place so that we can move ahead. A major part of that is, of course, financial literacy, coaching and mentorship, building groups and what you call them, cells, 5, 6 persons coming together to unlock greater opportunities and benefit from the commercial banks. So the digital, not the digital bank, that's somewhere we're going there in the future anyhow. The development bank is on track. We are hoping to have the first set of disbursement soon, as soon as we get past the legislative aspect. But operationally and technically, we are more or less in a position to trigger the employment and the system. The storage facility, that has become a big global issue. We see storage being an important conversation in the challenge the world is faced with now. My take on this is twofold. One is storage is an important issue, but also supply security is important. And that is why I believe there is an opportunity for the refinery. But we are looking at this as an investor's opportunity that would allow not only Guyana security, but other partners in the region, security of supply. We know we have security of crude, security of supply, and to build out the infrastructure around that. Of course, that will necessitate a large storage facility. We have had many interests in terms of this storage facility. There are ongoing conversations, so I will not get into some of these. But definitely, we will have to invest in the energy security and, of course, of Guyana, and work with our regional partners in terms of what is needed for the region itself. The Shield of Americas, of course, we are a proud member of the Shield of Americas, a founding member of the Shield of Americas. This is a coming together of like-minded countries to ensure the rule of law, democracy is upheld in the region, the protection of our sovereignty, and the rooting out of criminal elements, including smuggling, drug trafficking, and so from within the region, and the building out of a common security platform, an integrated security platform on which we work together to ensure the safety, security, and prosperity of our region. So you will see more integration with members in the Shield. You will see more joint exercises. You will see greater information sharing platform and higher participation level within members of the Shield.
Naomi Paris for the Guyana Chronicle. Mr. President, I'd like to shift your attention to agriculture, Gaisuco specifically. You would have warned in the past of changes to management in the event of underperformance in production. Are there any new updates on Gaisuco as it remains an important industry to the state?
Oh, definitely. You will see the action. I can say to you very clearly that we are investing in Gaisuco. I believe that we will move to a phase of having discussions, of course, with the union and so on, and aspects of ownership. But you'll definitely see action on some of these estates that have not performed. They must be, especially at the senior management level and the head office and these places, the estates, there need to be some rationalization. If it is need for greater technical input, we have a team of technicians that we're talking to, managers who will come in to assist in this so that there is no gap there is smooth transition wherever it's necessary.
In relation to your recent meeting with Suriname, is Guyana supporting the challenges faced by Suriname on flooding? And also, are there any updates on the Quarantine River charges?
I will not get into those matters in terms of the Quarantine River. We are working, and I mean, you can talk to players, but we're working. There are two things. One is that in Guyana, like Suriname, we have experienced unprecedented increase of rainfall for the first, well, it's more than a quarter, close to a half now of this year. We have had increases consistently of more than 20% of our historical trend in terms of rainfall, 20% above our historical trend. Suriname has similar challenges, and as neighbors, I think we have to work together. They needed some critical assets to help, and we are very humbled and pleased that we were able to be of assistance to our neighbors.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Luan Williams, DPI. We have seen an increase in violence in schools recently. Can you say what the government is doing to address this?
I
Secondly,
actually had something to speak about that, yeah.
Secondly, in 2025, Apple purchased 100,000 of Guyana's carbon credits. Has Guyana received that payment as yet? And thirdly, when will government...
I think the media is abusing me today. Y'all think so? Shabral?
We're taking the opportunity.
All right. You always have opportunity with me, Shabral. You have to be honest. Isn't that true?
No, a press conference environment.
Oh, okay. All right, brother. Enjoy your day. Yeah.
Yes. When will the government engage indigenous communities on their share for this sale?
I think that we are definitely you're disconnected from the reality. Our engagement with the indigenous community is continuous. For a matter of fact, the indigenous community determine their priorities and determine what their projects are. So the indigenous community are integrally a part of what is happening, and they're totally involved because they decide for themselves what their priority, where their priorities are, and they will develop for themselves the development plan and programs for the different areas. So I think that you're a bit dated or disconnected from the reality that the the indigenous communities are very much a part, and they're leading the process. They are actually leading the process in terms of their financing. The other question, the bullyism in school. This is a big problem. I was looking at the numbers, and we had reported incidents of misbehavior in 353 schools nationwide. And if you look at the recorded instances over the years, spanning all of our regions, is alarming. The highest, 41% of the reported cases are in Region 4. In Region 6, we have the second highest. Region 3, the third highest. Region 5, the fourth highest, and Region 10, the fifth highest. And of course, a lot of this is because of population. The schools that we have had higher levels of challenge was Diamond Secondary, Soesdijk Secondary, East Rumveld Secondary, Linden Foundation Secondary, Kanji Secondary, and Bartika Secondary, in terms of the most and the reports on the consistency. Now, this, of course, has become a very complex issue. We see rising gang activity, increased substance use and vaping, cyberbullying on social media, and this is a major escalation in the entire school system. And we are launching the public consultation. Remember, we promised this in the manifesto, a public consultation on cyberbullying. and social media. So we are launching this. Teachers, parents reporting the increasing and alarming nature of cyberbullying on social media that lead to consequential effects in the school system. And we have seen that these even extend beyond the compounds of the schools. So what we've also seen, and based on the reports and analysis, you have a lot of copycat behavior. You have amplifying and humiliation and trauma. Sometimes what you see on social media have ripple effect when you speak to the children in consequential or other events. The increasing use of vaping that is reported. So we have launched a series of initiatives that would allow greater coordination among agencies, more counseling services, have a standardized referral system. And that is why the AI is important in helping us to address predictable behavior and behavioral patterns so we can be more proactive. Have greater parental guidance and community involvement in children's life, greater involvement of the church, the mosque, the temples, and reforming our policies dealing with and addressing cyberbullying especially. A lot of these things start with cyberbullying, phone, somebody texting somebody, somebody showing someone a text message, and then social media. So addressing these issues are critical. One of the other challenge we have is the majority of teachers in the school system are women. So the male are falling back out of teaching. So we have to find a mechanism to give our female teachers that support in the system. More school monitoring, investment in security cameras, implementing in high-risk area, maybe a scanner system, small scanners for bags and so on. The heavy investment in counseling, coaching, and the building out of Scouts program in different schools, especially some targeted schools, where we can have father figures and mentors as scout guides, and to target at-risk behavior, bring them into the scout and use that as an opportunity to change behavior and create a more positive mindset. Also creating a reporting system and monitoring system that allows for confidentiality, allows real-time interaction, more training for a teacher in dealing with this, and also having a support system of intervention. Career guidance, substance abuse seminars are critical. So these are the things that we have started, but there will be a consultation, as I said, on dealing with a number of issues that are related to this. All right, next person. We'll take 2 more questions.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Is that
President.
okay, Jabra? All right, we'll take 3 more. Go ahead.
Utamu Bell, Ignite News. The International Energy Agency is suggesting that the world's energy supply might enter a red zone by August. What efforts are being put in place to ensure Guyana's energy security in the short term? And you would have mentioned long term, which is the oil refinery. But what is being put in place for 2026? Also, when do you plan to officially meet with the leader of the opposition?
I don't understand the second part of the question. The first part of the question is very relevant to our world. And I'll deal with the relevant question. We are very concerned, like the rest of the world, with what is happening. The closure of the strait and also the consequential effect of the attack on different facilities within the Gulf states. Because a lot of this attack has taken out storage and production facilities, and that would have tremendous effect on future supply. I don't think anyone planned for this prolonged period of what is occurring in the strait. So a lot of countries are also going into their strategic reserves. So we'll have a difficulty even if everything goes back to normal tomorrow. Many people still have to fill back their strategic reserve. And then many countries who are exporting, their storage facility is filled. So they have to get rid of that and then refill. And then, of course, you have the costs of the transportation, traffic held up for months. And then you have we don't know what will be the challenges from the supply side. That is why in the long term, we have to think about what will constitute our security. But in the short term, we have been speaking with all our suppliers. I had a meeting with all our suppliers, and they've assured me. Of course, these things can change rapidly, but they've assured me of supplies in relation to Guyana. But as I said, things are changing rapidly in the energy world. So we are consistently talking to them to ensure that we have the supply, and then working out on some interventions in the medium and long term.
Good afternoon, Shania Prasad from DPI. As quickly as we're seeing roadside vendors being removed, they're also being constructed in some of the busiest parts across the country. What is being done to address this in the long term without completely removing their source of income?
Very, very interesting question, and it's a good question. Because this is one of the things that we are receiving complaints on every single day. If you ask the normal man, and I can tell you, what are some of the things that people talk to me every day about? It's the roadside vending, sanitation, cleanliness, those two issues, and the abuse on the roadways. Those three issues occupying a lot of people's time. So we have asked the Public Works, Ministry of Local Government, to come up with a plan on identifying in some of the important urban areas, areas that we can transform into courtyards, whether food courtyards, entertainment, because entertainment is also in this category. Every night I receive text message about noise from some area. And we have to find a balance. So how we ensure entertainment continues, but we limit the impact and effect on communities. That is why on the seawall, the noise modulator is not there to shut anything down. It's there to set the right levels beyond which people are not affected. So you contain the songs of the music within that zone, but it don't go into the kitty area, the hospitals, and these residential areas. And then set it and let everyone understand that this, once you see it going past this number, you need to start self-policing. Otherwise, everybody gets shut down. So it's creating a sense of responsibility, a sense of love, a sense of respect for each other. For everyone to understand the entertainment industry is an important industry, but for the entertainment industry also to respect the homes and the families and so on. Coming back to the movement of the roadside vendors, we have launched a program identifying areas where we're going to build out these food courts, market tarmacs, create beautiful infrastructure, and move persons to those locations. For trucks along the roadway, we are now developing almost 300 acres of parking facility for those trucks to come off of the roadways. So we are hoping that by the end of this year, we'll have a number of those facilities. We'll try to have one, maybe in every NDC or the large communities, one, and move all of these facilities. So you can have better sanitation services. You can have better hygiene. You can have all of the other related things. And then you create a hub around those activities that will benefit their businesses. So that is the approach we're taking.
Good afternoon. I'm Kim O'King for Oil Now. Mr. President, we've seen first since 2022 when there was...
Go ahead.
Sorry, yes, Kim O'King, Oil Now. So we saw in 2022 when the Russia-Ukraine war started, there was a reorganization of markets in the oil and gas sector where Guyana's crude supplies became more important to places like Europe. And so we're seeing again this time when there is conflict, there are organizations pointing to Guyana as a more relatively stable supplier of crude. As Guyana is becoming a more strategically significant supplier of crude supplies. So has anyone come to the government of Guyana to perhaps ask for, in light of the current circumstances, deals to purchase Guyana's crude? And how does the government see itself leveraging this greater importance as a crude supplier for its own benefit?
Yeah. I think you're diplomatically asking me about positioning of the country, which is, many countries, oil, crude oil, and energy helps to position countries politically. And you see this in the conflict, the realignment and alignment of different markets, the redirection of pipelines now. So a lot of new infrastructure is being placed. Look at the deal between the UAE and India in terms of strategic storage and moving around the pipeline. So this is a normal occurrence. Anywhere you go, there is extreme interest in Guyana's crude. But we, of course, our long-term interests and long-term market stability and pricing is important. Because I think Oil Now even did an article some time ago on this, on the difference between spotting and long-term markets. Now, in times of crisis, everybody interested in this spot market. But we have to balance that against long-term sustainability, having long-term pricing. And we have been having technical, of course, evaluation and guidance that help us to make the best decision in the interests of Guyana. But yes, from a geopolitical perspective, Guyana crude is becoming more important to different markets. From a geopolitical perspective, we are being pursued by different markets that can strengthen relationship or position Guyana in deeper relationship. And if you look at the question from Newsroom on the Southern Sphere, if you put it that way, this is a big part of it. How do we ensure energy security for this region? And how do we leverage the energy assets, the mineral asset? I don't know if you had a chance to listen to me at OTC, because that's another big challenge, the leveraging of the mineral assets, because you see more and more countries are becoming interested in the mineral assets because that is linked to renewables and a big part of energy security. So managing all of this is important, an important part of our national energy strategy. Yes, Shabra.
Mr. President, I have a question.
Okay.
Celestine for NCN. Previously, you've mentioned the possibility of exploring high-speed railway systems. In light of the recent bus strike that we've seen in the past couple of days, would you be able to provide an update on this initiative?
Yeah, we are continuing to study this challenge. It's not only the bus strike, it's also Georgetown and the stress that we bring into the city. When I say stress, I mean the pressures into the city. We are perhaps looking at the possibility of a ring circuit where we ease the physical number of vehicles coming into the city. So imagine if at Diamond or Providence you have a light rail or a transit system that allows persons to come into the city. Then it creates new hubs but reduces that pressure into the city when all of these vehicles coming in from a security perspective, sanitation perspective, water perspective and all. The people are still coming in, so commerce is not affected, but in a different public transport format. So yes, we are examining that greatly.
Kristen Chesai from NCN. Just a follow-up to a question that she asked. Do you think with the recent strike, is for short term, is there a need for more oversight mechanisms for the current public transportation system?
Good question. But I would say that this requires some consultation also. You see, I believe in an open economy, but an open economy that is responsible, where businesses, commerce, and everyone who participates in the open economy must be responsible and fair to the market. When we remove the taxes on the fuel import, there was a time when, a long period, when we had the lowest cost at the pump. But there was no translated benefit to the consumer. The fares never change. So there must be, you can't want a win-all system. There must be a system that strikes the balance. And we intend to have some public conversation on this matter also. But it's a very good, very, very good question.
Mr. President, could you say what assurances can you give to international oil companies that intend to explore for oil closer to the Guyana-Venezuela border in terms of any security cooperation with the United States? And sir, what is the status of your planned anti-corruption mechanism? And thirdly, what plans do you have for enacting intellectual property and copyright legislation and amendments to the Anti-Discrimination Act, to the Discrimination Act, sorry?
What was the second question?
The anti-corruption mechanism.
Well, then what was the first question?
The first question is, what assurances can you give to international oil companies?
Yeah. And the last one was?
And the last one has to do with intellectual property and copyright legislation and amendments to the Discrimination Act.
So let me start with the anti-corruption development. We have a lot of systems in place. I think what we need to do is strengthen those systems. We need to build upon those systems, the layer, put on the additional layer. Here's where technology will help us. And allow me. So first is to ensure that all of the systems that we have, you will agree with me, that some of the systems are not performing at an optimal. So we have to first integrate all of the systems that are there into a central mechanism. And that is the mechanism I'm talking about. There must be an interface between everything that is happening. And that central interface must be backed by tools, analytical tools that help us. And that is where we're going. Take, for example, Chabrol. last year end. You remember when we were addressing the declaration of goal? You remember that? And I made some public comments as to how you can track. You can look at a man buying 10 excavators and declaring no goal. Or they look at their improvement in their personal wealth and their assets versus what declaration was made. So it's bringing all of these different agencies into a common central unit that allows, and then you build on the layer of the analytics that allows you to generate the reports, linking in GRA and everybody into that. And that is what we're working on in this integrated system. The second one is on assurances. I can assure you that we're going to defend every investment that is made in our sovereign space. And when we go out for investment within our sovereign space, in our territorial space, it is because we're saying to investors we are confident that we have the right incentives, the right fiscal regime, and the right infrastructure to defend any investment and protect any investment that is made within that space. That is what I'll say. I'll leave it there. We work closely with our allies. That's why we are part of this new sphere. The next one is in the property right. Yeah. So these are 3 issues that we are going to have some consultation on. Well, the last one, whatever amendment is needed on anti-discrimination legislation, that will be made. On the issue of copyright, we have to have some consultation as to what form it will take. And I'm saying that maybe it's time we start those consultations, because I want to hear Guyana or artists and everyone on this issue. I feel strongly about it. So maybe we should move this up on the agenda and start the consultation on that. So maybe we can do the social media consultation and this one together. Thank you very much, everybody. It was great having all of you here. Remember, I'm just a phone call away. Shabral can tell you, or any journalist, you can get me for any comment, any season. Huh? You love the setting. You love to be among your friends. All right. Thank you very much, guys. Have a happy Independence in advance. Happy Eid. You know, we'll be celebrating Eid in advance, and please participate fully in the celebration of our Diamond Jubilee. God bless you guys. Thank you.